Grapevine. William, welcome. How you doing? Happy Tuesday.
Hi, good morning.
Hey.
The following people have all called Trump unfit for office. His VP, his UN ambassador, his chief of staff, his other chief of staff, 2 defense secretaries, his attorney general, his secretary of state, and 2 national security advisors.
Mm-hmm.
Are they all members of the deep state, or is what they said was all taken out of context?
They are people who have some specific gripe with Trump. I could go case by case if you wish. Pence's is obvious. Barr's is obvious. And they're all completely entitled to their opinion. But the bottom line is that they, in many cases, thought they could get into the Trump White House and run it and change him. And when they found out that he was actually in charge and that he was actually going to do what he wanted to do, many of them got their feelings hurt and slunk away. They're all totally entitled to do so. As someone who hates Trump's guts, which is clearly what drives you, which is fine, you consider those people to be enormously wise and oracles who should be bowed to. I and most Republicans feel differently.
Well, Trump hired them all.
Oh, absolutely. 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 And if one wants to say that a second Trump term should involve a somewhat better radar for who's going to be on board and who's going to be more complimentary, that is certainly a fair observation one can make. And by his own admission, I think he said in a number of interviews, I need to kind of have a closer eye on who I bring into the fold. And I expect that will happen. And if that does happen, will you be okay? Will you be all right?
Yeah, the next Trump term he'd only bring in top people like Sidney Powell, Kash Patel.
I believe I have a feeling you need to. The mockery is funny and it's cute, but I think you need to be a little bit more up on things. He is distanced from the specific Sidney Powell fantasies that destroyed her reputation. I think you're going to see people who are actual grassroots America First conservatives in the administration. Is that something that you will be okay with? I mean, the real people that he will bring in. Will you be okay with that, or will some type of counseling be in order?
Only if it's QAnon superstar Mike Flynn.
No, but again, if this is the shallowness and the stupidity that you're bringing out into the public, that's just not a way to be. I'm asking you really honest questions. In fact, let's get deeper. Let's have some real fun. Who would you want Biden to win? You ready for that second Biden term? Does that float your boat?
I'd rather not, but compared to Trump, I'll do it a million times.
Ooh, okay. So the Biden presidency is okay with you.
I didn't say it's okay.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Know what you say. Please know what you say and be honest with me and honest with yourself in saying that Trump is so nasty, orange man, bad, repulsive that a second Biden term is acceptable. That means it's okay with you. I don't mean you're 100% on board. That wasn't what I asked. I said, is all other things being equal and on balance, a second Biden term okay with you? And your answer is yes. So what Trump? So okay, thank you. Now we're getting somewhere. What Trump policy thing he will actually do? No sideshows, no personalities. What thing that he actually did was so horrible? What struck you? What policy were you repelled by?
Well, his best policy was Operation Warp Speed. Mm-hmm. Kind of weird. He never talks about it.
Okay, so the hastening of the best thing he did was
best policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
How come
what?
He never talks about it. He saved millions of people.
That he did. I was a fan of Operation Warp Speed. As
why
were
did he
many.
never talk about it?
Well, because I think everybody's pretty well done with COVID in the rearview mirror. I think that is something we all generally like to forget. So what I asked you though was what policy? What I'm actually asking you. What I did ask you was what policy of his was so repulsive to you? What did he do that was so wrong?
Actually agreed with the majority of his policies.
Wow.
The problem is him, and it's not his tweets.
How? Then what? Then please what?
He has no understanding of democracy. He's a complete danger.
What does that mean? Tell me what that means. He's not going to pull us out of NATO. This is designed to shake NATO awake so that those countries will pitch in more so that it's not us floating NATO financially.
That's right. He's playing three-dimensional chess.
I believe in this case, yeah. So you did. He was not. So NATO. You thought that he was dismissive of NATO. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. What other policies were so repugnant that a second Biden term is acceptable to you?
All his feelings and sentiments about democracy and his love of
blah, 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 blah. Stop it. I'm trying to take you somewhere. Go there with me for your own intellectual democracy, blah, institutions. Stop it. That is meaningless piffle. It's piffle.
Oh,
what
totally
specific thing? No. What specific things did he do? And what specific things do you fear he will do that are of concern to you?
All right. So as I stated, I agreed with most of his policies. However, if you read Project 2025, have you read Project 2025?
I have glancing familiarity with it. Why does that matter?
Oh, just glancing. You just kind of skimmed over it a little bit.
Yes, because
it scare the crap out of anyone that reads it.
It only does if it is something that one wishes to focus on, because one doesn't wish to focus on policies that actually matter.
How about Schedule F? How do you feel about Schedule F?
Stop it. I've asked you 5 times to get. I have asked you because it's irrelevant. It is the playground of people who don't have the intellectual heft to answer the question. And in fact, the degree to which you have answered the question, you said by your own admission that you kind of agreed with the majority of actual things that he did, and yet, here you are, and yet, despite that, you're willing to tolerate a second Biden term, meaning open borders is okay with you, that having people believe there's 37 genders is okay with you, climate extremism is okay with you. It is. And it absolutely is
inundated with drag queens.
So this is all. But do you believe that the surgical mauling of healthy children is okay?
Yeah, all the girls' sports teams are done. They're all filled with transgender
you
boys.
You believe that's okay? If you had a daughter running in a track meet, you think that it's okay for a boy to be running alongside her? You think that's okay?
It's absolutely not okay. But here's a little secret, Mark.
Okay,
please. It happened about 3 times in the country.
Well, A, not true. Read more, and B. Let's come off the athletic field and go to the surgical mauling of healthy teenage girls' breasts because they think they are a boy. Is that okay with you?
I really don't think about it, and it's
clearly you don't. And there's a number of other things you don't think about too. So please do come back to me anytime, because I love you, and there are people who are like you who need my help, and I'm glad to be here, and it's free. 819. 825 866 660 5759. I always seek to do a show that helps everybody learn something. Lord knows, one way or the other, we learn something. The gentleman who wanted you to be so petrified of something, anytime somebody throws something out, and even if I dismiss it as an irrelevancy, I want you to know what it is. A gentleman referred to Project 2025. This is a Heritage Foundation idea that involves what's going to happen if Trump wins, or I guess really they want to be specifically nonpartisan, or at least specifically not tied to one particular candidate. They might have tried this if any other Republican had won. But it's kind of a reimagining of the executive branch. Mostly involves replacing a lot of existing federal civil service workers, the deep state, if you will. The idea is to take a kind of a really broad view of what's called the unitary executive theory, that the president of the United States has some power and some latitude over the executive branch upon the moment of inauguration. And what had been the problem? What were some of the obstacles that Trump ran across? It was that there were, what is the deep state? We haven't talked about that in a long time. The deep state is no matter whom we elect, no matter who we put in the White House, and if we can get those wonderful bigger Republican majorities in the House and retake the Republican majority in the Senate, there are still layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of unelected bureaucratic jackals who are there forever, many of whom oppose the agenda of the sitting president. And Trump ran across this every day. And the deep state is real. And so the Project 2025, as it's called, is a thoroughly laudable and praiseworthy attempt to drain that administrative swamp. So that's Project 2025. There you go. And thank you, sir, for bringing it up. All right.